Hey, Gaybros Look.
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
Where are we today?
I am in San Francisco. Same spot. It's just much colder than a week ago.
And I'm actually in Chicago, enjoying our first blizzard of the year. Or how? Yeah,
Memories.
yeah. It's the first one is charming. It's always charming.
So you have to walk in it?
No, I mean, the problem is that when actually just freezes and everything turns into an ice skating rink and you are not wearing any kind of skates, you are basically screwed. That's the part that I hate. But the first snow, when it's like crunchy on the ground and everything, I find it super charming. Then when my hip can break, not so much.
Yeah, it's interesting. The winters in Russia, it's like everything freezes and stays frozen for 7 months. But Idaho, it was this like freezing cold, melt, turn to ice, black ice, gray ice. Your shoes are wet. Your pants are wet.
Oh yeah, that's true. Did you used to have what are they called, like cramps?
I know crampons.
Yeah, crampons, yeah.
No, I did not.
Gotcha. Yeah, and a part of me is debating about like, do I get some this year? If it gets like as bad as other years, that is like it only snows one and it remains for a month and a half, like just turn into ice.
Do other Chicagoans do that? It's like a common thing.
Not that often, but it's like for me, I'm just afraid of breaking something.
No, that's fair. I respect that.
But yeah, talking actually about snow, and snowing incidents, what did we watch this week?
This was my pick. I picked the winner at Cannes 2023 of the Palme D'Or, a film called Anatomy of a Fall, which is actually directed by a woman. And now, as I say that, I'm curious to know how many women directors have won the Palme d'Or.
That's a really good question. Yeah, I didn't realize until the end that it was directed by a woman. I was wondering, was this directed by a woman? Not in a bad way. Not in a way that it's like, does a woman need 2 hours and a half for telling that story? But
not just a woman, but a ginger woman.
Oh my god!
What felt like it didn't have a soul.
That it didn't have a soul. Oh my god! What is that from?
Gingers don't have souls.
But what is that from?
It's just a mean thing people say to gingers. I don't know. Did it come from a movie? It's just something you hear growing up.
I had the feeling that I heard that somewhere. But in any case, what did you pick it besides that it was the winner of the Palme d'Or?
So 15 years ago, I would have been aware of this film 20 months before even it showed at Cannes, and then I would wait for the winner of the festival to come out and I'd be on top of it. I have grown away from movies since that obsession. I picked this film because my husband's like, hey, I bought tickets to this movie that's supposed to be good.
That was the only motivation. It was more like,
and then we didn't end up going together. But then when I researched it, realized it was the Palme d'Or winner. I was like, I'm gonna make Jose watch this. It's over 2.5 hours long.
So we are even for Celine Dion goes voting.
Almost.
I still owe you 30 minutes. Okay.
I think after Bellatar, we're even at this point.
Yeah, after a touring horse, I think that let's just forget about this. What I find surprising is that other years I had the feeling that we would be more on top, and is like, hey, who won Cannes? Is that we knew that what was the name? Triangle of Sadness won almost the next day, and it's like this. I completely, if I knew it, I completely forgot it until you mentioned it.
Yeah, I just wasn't aware of anything. I was like, wait, Cannes happened? What?
But yeah, so as this was your pick, I guess that I have to summarize it.
Yes, please.
All right. So this is a family that lives in a small house in a village in France, in the mountains. Everything is snowed, and the husband one day just appears on the ground after falling from the house. And then the rest of the movie is a bit of a trial to just figure it out who did it, if anyone, or if it was actually the suicide. Other important data is that they are the married couple, and the son is mostly blind because of an accident that happened 7 years ago. And along the movie, we are given like more and more details about what type of relationship they had. So it's a mixture between a thriller about like you don't know exactly what happened and you're like piecing the pieces together, and a family drama with one of the characters absent.
Period.
That's it, and it's 2 hours and a half.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is. There's a little more nuance, like the mother and father are both writers, but the mother became successful, the father didn't, and
the mother is German, they live in France, but they met up in London.
Yeah,
and she gave everything. Yeah.
It seems like it was due to the dad's slight neglect that the son had his injury, and all of these things, the money problems, the resentment in the marriage, of success and the care of the child, it all comes up in the trial.
Yep. As I wrote you yesterday, is that for me this was a bit of a, like if David Fincher because of the thriller part, and Noah Baumbach because of the marriage, like going through very truculent things, and a kid suffering for, like through all the fights that they have with each other, is that they had a French kid, a French daughter in this case. That is, the director is Justine Triet, and she created this movie.
That would devastate me.
Did you like it?
I did. I liked it a lot. It's work. It's not that it's super boring. There are boring moments, but it's pretty compelling.
Yep.
I think I texted you after you saw it. I said I felt like this was Time of the Wolf, which is the Michael Haneke film, where we were not supposed to know anything more than the characters and the investigators in this film, which is deeply frustrating and unsatisfying in some moments. In fact, the actress who plays the mom who's under suspicion, after spending, months in this character, she said, even I'm not sure whether or not she murdered. Like, it's just so ambiguous, and that's frustrating, but that's pretty powerful direction to make me feel that frustrated. And I was like, okay, I think I'm experiencing exactly what she wanted me to experience, and that's super cool.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know whether it was about like not getting answers. Well, obviously it was about not getting answers and just like deciding what you want to believe. In fact, there's an interesting little monologue from a minor character where she says these things. You just have to decide if you don't know the truth.
Yeah. Please say what is your hunch, but there has to be some truth.
But also, besides that, I think it was deeply about the tragedy of a death like this, because you just see this family like tortured by humiliation in like the eyes of the public and the court, and it's a very powerful experience for me.
It turned like a very, I don't know, toxic marriage into just a public spectacle, a public showing. They didn't go like too much deep into that. There is like a couple of smaller scenes when we see the TV and how like the French TV is covering the trial, but beyond that is that there is not so much beyond like being in court and how like the district attorney is basically grilling her with very leading questions for just portraying her as a monster. And it's like at the end, it's like all of the memories and everything is like they display her as a flawed individual, but also, is this a case of unreliable narrator?
And it's also an interesting, like, when the prosecutor presents relatively accurately something that happened, you can make something that's relatively normal in a relationship seem super toxic and an indicator of future violence. And then you would have the mom stand up and defend herself, and she's like, look, we fought like normal people, this wasn't uncommon. And you're like, I understand both sides, I don't like the ambiguity.
Well, I mean, you just think that is the prosecutor is going to be like focusing a lot on I want to make this person look as guilty as possible. One thing that I was a bit torn is that the movie has like a lot of foreshadowing. like about like, hey, you're going to be torn apart, your marriage is going to be exposing everything. There is going to be like taking one incident before they even discover the recording. Is like they're going to be like taking one incident and they're going to make your whole relationship being about that incident. So just keep it in mind, and then it's exactly what happens. I just feel a couple of times it's like the script has been decent. It has got me like glued into, hey, I want to know what comes next, you know. But also at the same time, there have been a couple of times that I felt this could have been a bit more subtle in some aspects. Like that dialogue that the kid remembers about the father, that is like amazing editing. I was telling my father, my boyfriend, but I just felt it's like, dude, it actually completes with like, he was not talking about the dog.
Yeah, I know the scene you're talking about, and to tie this back to what you mentioned before, I think I cut you off about, and all of these are unreliable narrators. We're treated to flashbacks throughout the film, but it's a mixture, I believe, of how things actually happened, as well as how things in the present characters are saying they happened. We don't know that that's how they happened, so it's just this.
Yeah, you cannot trust it completely, and there is even I mean, we may be getting into a bit more of a spoiler territory. It's a movie of 2 hours and a half, you know. But there is one scene that there is audio about it, and it's like we see like the part that is like pretty unambiguous what happened. But when things become more ambiguous and it can let you to think one thing or the other, they stop doing like the flashback part, and it's like, oh, you have to imagine. At this point, you have to imagine.
But in fairness, that is the nature of the audio recording, because it's at first it's a conversation where we don't need to see what happens, and then you just hear a struggle. There's some sort of
but it's like
we only hear her side. We only hear what she has to say about it.
Yeah, but it's like on that case, it's almost the other way around. How it will have to be. That is the important part for the audience is knowing what happened at the struggle more than actually just seeing them reenacting the conversation.
And I think because we are not given that information, we are supposed to be on the jury, and that annoys me because I didn't show up for jury duty. I wanted to watch a Palme D'Or winner.
That's fair, but I feel like it's entertaining. I just felt as look, for 2 hours and a half, this could have been a train wreck. It would have been like a pain to watch, you know. Now, I was saying that after Triangle of Sadness, that it was also more than 2 hours, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I just feel 2 hours and a half was Triangle of Sadness. I just feel like Cannes really likes the idea of they have to go over 2 hours for being quality cinema.
And maybe they're just trying to protect, you know, cinema with a capital C. The dying art form we were discussing before we started recording.
Yeah.
But they didn't give anything to Tar, so screw them.
Did that actress remind you a bit of Tar? Of Lydia Tar? Of Cate Blanchett playing Lydia Tar?
Now that you say it, I can absolutely see it. I think, so when we start to see towards the end, because of these unreliable narrations, you start to see that the mom is actually like a raging narcissist in some ways. Not that the husband is perfect, but like she has some like, whoa, you're not in a marriage, you're just kind of,
I just think that she's more practical, you know? She's more like a German, more about like all analytical into, hey, this is what I accept, this is not what I don't accept, and this is like the commitment that I present here.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So a bit narcissistic, maybe, but I don't know. It's not about like just making a whole study of the characters. It's more like for just giving us pieces and leave you thinking about like the thriller part. And just... Which
is what the stupid trial is. Just give me the whole story, Justine.
Yeah.
Did she write the film? Do you know? I haven't looked it up.
I don't. She wrote it. She wrote it along someone else, Arthur Harari.
I don't know her full filmography. Documentary, short. Looks like she's had 1, 2, 3, 4 full-length films. Oh wow, they've all been nominated for like César Awards.
Nice.
And her last film, Sybil, was also nominated for the Palme D'Or. Wow, we should check something out by her. She seems to be really good.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like it even more than I expected.
I think it was I didn't go to Cannes. I don't know if it's the best film there, but this is a pretty good pick. I'm like, this is a good film. I'm good with this pick for Palme d'Or 2023.
Good job, Can.
Well done.
This is the stamp of approval of Gaybros. Pop.
Have you ever heard how they do the Cannes jury?
I think that you told me, but educate me again.
There's just a select number of awards, and all the jurors come in and they decide all the films get only one award, and they just come to an agreement about who gets which one. I don't know why that surprises me. I felt like they would vote, maybe, instead of just a conversation, but...
The interesting part is that not a single movie can get more than a single award.
You gotta spread the love. You can't have like Lord of the Rings 3 come in and sweep every award.
Except acting.
Except acting.
That is like, I remember when that happened. Is that I agree. I agree.
Hey, Kate Blanchett was in that movie.
For what? For 10 minutes?
I don't know. I don't remember it.
Okay. I'm not going to be watching Lord of the Rings again. I'm sorry. I just like putting. Okay, I'm putting my foot here. I foot down. Yeah, but it's like it makes me wonder about like how do you choose the Palme d'Or winner? You know, is like instead of actually giving like best director, is like imagine that you have, because I always had the feeling that these are like the two more related kind of awards, like best movie and best director. You know, they are like, I had the feeling that there are like very few exceptions that I would say is like, this is not a good movie, it's not a great movie, but the director did a really good job.
I wonder if Lars would have won best director instead of Kirsten Dunst winning best actor if he hadn't announced he was a Nazi at that very festival.
Yeah, making Kirsten Dunst like incredibly uncomfortable.
They made us all uncomfortable, but she had to be right next to him.
Yeah, she was like, how do I react now? What has happened here? Yeah, I was like trying to think about what Melancholia won, and definitely not best director or best movie.
Nope. That was Kristen's big comeback.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So go over the questions, because it's like, as he's on the cinema, I had the feeling that it's like we're going to end up spoiling something.
It's a solid film. It's entertaining if work to watch. I would check this out. This is a good film.
Yeah. Would you watch it again?
Yeah, at some point in the future, not in the next year, but maybe a year from now, I would watch it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it's like it's entertaining enough that it feels a tiny bit of work of how long it is. But I mean, did people laugh while you watch it?
I honestly don't remember. I don't think so.
There is a scene with the dog that is like that is pretty absurd, and it's like people started laughing when it was like resolved. We started like just
people
laughing.
Were gasping like crazy because that was clearly they did something to that real dog.
Yeah, like,
they were
yeah,
all
yeah.
like, no.
No, that's where we draw the line.
Not in San Francisco.
I don't want to go into spoilers, but when the whole thing is actually, you know, like solved and it's explained in a very nonchalant, somewhat nonchalant way about what happened, and the dog is like completely like, what? Are you guys talking about me? We started like just like laughing out loud. You know, like me and my boyfriend, we started like, okay, this has become absurd. And there are a couple of scenes on the trial that is like people were laughing out loud about like how absurd it was, like how French the movie was.
I just kept thinking, this is not the American justice system. That is circumstantial evidence. Somebody should have objected.
Yeah, that's right. Is that there were no really.
Yeah, no, I was like, none of
objections.
this would be evidence in an American court, but whatever.
Yeah. Would you recommend Anatomy of a Fall?
Yeah. Almost to anyone. Because I feel like even people who aren't like really into cinema can appreciate that this is a good film.
Yeah, I recommended it to my parents already. That's the reason why I was telling them about the movies. I told them, I think that you would like it. There is not too much stuff, there is not like a lot of gore or explicit violence in it.
Which I really expected it to show more of the result of the fall. They really don't. There was almost nothing.
No. So it's a bit more insinuated, but as there is so much left to the imagination, is that just go with it. And yeah, I would recommend it to almost anyone. You're right. I think that is a bit of an enjoyable movie. Someone tells me, just tell me a thriller that is right now out there, is that probably I would go with this. Well, but we haven't watched The Killer. That is also a thriller that is out there.
Is that out yet?
I think so. It's on the cinema. It's going to be in 2 weeks on Netflix, so.
Oh, all right. So we can watch it.
Exactly. Would you remember Anatomy of a Fall?
I'm going to forget the nuances, but I will remember everything you included in your synopsis.
The 2 sentences. They're leaving a house in a mountain, the husband dies, there is a trial. It lasts 2 hours and a half.
Yep.
Yeah, same here. I had the feeling that is that if I read like one sentence, I would say it's like, yes. And I will remember like other tidbits, but I won't be remembering like the kid playing the piano, for example.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Apparently that was supposed to mark the passage of time as he improved, but that went over my head until I read that that's what it was supposed to be, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I got it, but also like the banner that it says like 1 year later, it also indicates
that also
the passage of time.
The same
so,
effect.
just saying, you could have saved 20 minutes of movie with that. Is there anything artistic about it?
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of surprised. Not that I know everything about movies, but I'm surprised that this woman hasn't been on my radar, because like this woman is clearly talented at directing, really talented, and I don't know how much she really wrote the script, but her name's on it, so the writing is excellent. The performances, the cinematography, it's all top notch, everything across the board.
Yeah, this is what I was saying to my boyfriend is that look, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this wins like best foreign movie in the Oscars this year. Is that this is a very easy pick.
Yeah, it's digestible enough for the Academy to be like, I understood that one. I got it.
This is almost like David Fincher, so I like it. But yeah, I agree with you. It's like all of the, and something that I was wondering is like if they actually took multiple months for shooting the movie. I'll bet they are always like or it's too cold and people are like just wearing like giant jackets, or it's too cold and there is snow. So is that probably they took like a couple of months between like fall and spring for just shooting it.
Yeah.
But it was, I don't know. I mean, I love the acting. Usually, you know that I don't like kids that much in movies. This kid was tolerable.
He was like good when he was testifying. I was like, that kid seems to be in real distress.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that the script, maybe it was a bit unrealistic. Is that sometimes he just dances between like, oh my God, is that this kid is the most educated kid ever, and then he's almost like a simpleton. It just bounces between like both worlds. I was like, no. Now he's a kid. Before not. Before it was like a grown up in the body of a kid. Now he goes back into being a kid.
I was a little annoyed at how his like court appointed protector, how he spoke to her. I was like, a 13-year-old kid who just went through the loss of his dad is speaking that eloquently about like philosophy or like whatever it was. I remember being annoyed at the conversation. I'm like, I was not that self-aware when I was 13. I was just like masturbating a bunch.
Well, maybe when you go blind, this is what you have. I don't know.
He is blind.
For masturbating too much. Okay. Is Anatomy of a Fall a timeless piece?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. I was even wondering, do they ever say on what year does it take place? Because they mentioned 2017 or 2018 a couple of times, and then I wasn't sure about like when is this exactly happening.
I think I didn't notice any reference to a specific time. I believe they mentioned a year, but there's not even technology. Like nobody's on a cell phone. There's some like computer models in the trial about what happened, but this could have
Yeah.
taken place in the year 2000 or 2023.
Yeah, they have mobile phones. Is it because the mother like calls the son? I don't know. You remember at some
that's
point,
right.
you know, and you see that it's an iPhone. But beyond that, it's like they have been looking almost the same with a case for 10 years. So, and technology is not that important. And they mention social media, but there is nothing that it roots them into this movie was produced in 2022 or 2023. So, and the story, yeah, is about like a marriage falling apart. So I think the last time was. Would you turn this into a TV show?
My only, if it was really well done, yes. My fear is that it would be reduced to like Law and Order, French Alps version.
Oh my god, Le Croissant edition. So you're going to say yes or no?
I would give it like a 4-episode miniseries on HBO.
I'm going to go with yes, because at some points I just felt like this could have been a miniseries. This could have been like this HBO, you know, like once that they released. I remember like 4 or 5 years ago, they did multiple of these. There was this one that I watched because you recommended, married couple living in New York, that they feel like their life is perfect, and then the guy disappears, and it's Hugh Grant.
Oh no, the wife disappears. No, what happened? Yes, it's Hugh Grant and Nicole Kidman,
Oh, that was it.
and he's a psychologist.
The
and
Undoing. Yeah.
He's accused of cheating.
Yeah. And it's like, I think that
His mistress goes missing. That's what happened, and the whole time we're not sure if he even had a mistress.
Yeah.
And then spoiler alert, he did, and he killed her.
Yep. Yeah. Because it's the Undoing. But yeah, during that time is that they were doing like a lot of these small limited series of 5 or 6 episodes telling a whole story that they dropped completely. And I feel like, hey, this would have been like a perfect. Did he do it? Did he didn't? You know, I'm playing with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Could this have been a short?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it needed to be 2.5 hours, but you do need to sit with the emotions quietly, like the characters do. Yeah, you need some time in this world to, I think, experience what we're supposed to experience in this film.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that this would have been trimmed a bit, but also at the same time, I think that those silences, as you were saying, and those kind of introspection moments, that there are not so many of them or so long. It's like with the kids playing the piano, whatever, it's like a third time, a fourth time, is that this is a bit too much. But I don't know, it just shows like the kid like just channeling his grief through, hey, I used to play piano with my father, and now I'm going to be like playing by myself. I don't want to lose this, you know. Instead of just crying. So I feel like it could have been shorter, maybe like 20 minutes, 30 minutes shorter, but it would have been a complete different story if it had been like less than an hour.
I agree. I think it could have been a tight 2 hours. Probably not much less.
Yep. Do you think this movie could have been better? Is there any glaring problem?
Not for me. There's nothing I was like, well, I guess we had those minor complaints about the kid seeming like an old soul, but it's not enough for me to be like, rewrite the scene. I think it's just quality. There's nothing I would say to fix that.
Okay. I mean, for me, I think that the script could have been a tiny bit tighter. You know, is that there all of the scenes where I was like laughing out loud. That I was like, I'm not sure if I'm laughing out loud with this movie or not. It's not that it's bad, that it actually just like detract from it, but it's also a part of me just thinks it's like this works because it's like in a 2 hours and a half movie. There are going to be times that I want to laugh. I need to just like find some kind of escape. Yeah. But it's like, I'm not 100% sure if that's what you were thinking. So yeah, I'm going to go with yes. Should we score it?
We should. This was my pick, so you have to score it first.
I'm going to go with an 8.
Yeah, 8.5 for me.
Okay. I debated between an 8 and 8.5. I think that is the key. That just put me off a bit. I like the screen that is there.
I was going between an 8 and a 9, and then the fact it won the Palme D'Or bumped me from the 8 to an 8.5.
Oh, did you read the New York Times review?
I did. I wasn't blown away by the review. I was like, yeah, okay, I got it. I got that from watching it. Thank you.
Was it a credit pick?
No, but this is brand new. You have to give it time. Oh, wait, maybe they did just pick it initially. I don't know. We'll let people know next episode.
Oh, wait. Are you telling me that they revisit movies sometime later and is when they give the critics pick?
They give each of the actual critics, and remember, people review that are not critics, so the actual critics get one critic pick per week, and it can be any movie the New York Times has ever picked. So you're going to go back to Casablanca, somebody picked Casablanca in their week, right? Do you understand? So you, Jose, if you were a staff writer, you'd get to pick 52 of these films a year. They can be new, they can be old.
Oh, so but I have to write like a new review for them? For example, if I see that is... okay, so it's like just going to the review of Citizen Kane, and it's like maybe no one ever like put...
It's like getting a badge. Like they put a badge on that page. Critic.
Dude, that makes even like the situation of the guest even weirder. Imagine that maybe someone like went back a year later and says like, you know what? I want to use my 1 out of 52 badges for just like putting in this piece of shit.
Out of hundreds of thousands of films over the last 40 years, the guest deserves my pick this week.
Okay, so as this was your pick, I guess that I have to pick next, and I'm going to keep it on the thriller perspective and on the snowy landscape, and we're going to be like watching a classic, because that is like the 90s are classics nowadays. It's 30 years old.
That's like the Coens when they were young and interesting.
Well, yeah, that's true. But yeah, we're going to be watching Fargo.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Anything else to say about Anatomy of a Fall?
No, just solid ass film.
Good job, Cans. Good job, Justine Triet. You deserve it.
You want a fan in me? I'm definitely gonna check out your other stuff. You're welcome.
Okay. And to all of those people out there listening to us, thank you so much for putting it with us.
Get your vaccines.
Okay. And then don't wash anything. Just lick the walls. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Bye.